Hello, I am Fiona Sitkin, a host for a talk show, The Bridge for Women Worldwide. And today I am hosting the fourth episode of the Bridge series. Its title is The Bridge for Women Worldwide. Women worldwide on the rise, from fearful to fearless in the US. And our guest today is Veronica Montes. She holds a PhD and is an assistant professor of a prestigious Bryn Mawr College in Pennsylvania. Originally, she is from Mexico. Our talk show is based basically on my HuffPost blogs and ThriveHost blogs, as well as my recent book, How They Made It in America, from Isabella Allende to Ivana Trump to the fashion designer Josie Natori, plus more. And today I have a distinct honor to welcome to our show Veronica Montes, who is one of the 18 book subjects. Welcome to the show, Veronica.
Thank you, Fiona. Thank you so much for this invitation. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks.
Yes, it's a pleasure to have you. Veronica Montes came to the United States from Mexico, and she started in our country from scratch as a daughter of a divorced immigrant mother. Her personal stamina and grit made her successful in American academia. And today, she publishes her articles in the most prestigious US American, Peruvian, and British magazines, specializing on the gender issues. To complete a PhD in sociology is a great achievement for anybody, but even more so for an immigrant. Why? Because the challenge of the perfect language and cultural penetration is so much greater for somebody who speaks English as a second language. But Veronica made it, although the road to success in the US was tough. And today, Veronica feels at home in America. Welcome again, Veronica.
Thank you, Fiona, for your warm introduction. Thank you. It means a lot to me. Thanks.
Yeah, my first question, Veronica, will be like this. I know you got your green card in 1990 and became a citizen in 1995. But when you were crossing a border with Mexico at age 18, you were just an undocumented girl carrying your high school diploma and a bag of mixed feelings. What were you fearful of at that time?
Wow, that's you just make me think about those years. It's a long time ago, 30 years actually. At that time, I think I was very fearful of not knowing anything about this culture, this country, not knowing what is going to be for me in this country, not knowing the language, not having documents, having crossed the border without a visa. And I think I was 18. I was just, at that time, I was just started college in Mexico. So I think there were several things that make me feel like very, like fearful, but also uncertain. And, but at the same time, I was very excited to come to this country and be together with my family.
I see. I see many things to be excited about and to be fearful of. I understand. Well, with your today's notable career in college education, many people would like to know, Veronica, how did it all start? How did it start when you were growing up in Mexico City, Mexico, and then found yourself in Los Angeles, California? What was the draw, the promise of education for you that made you choose it for a career?
I have been reflecting about that particular question over the last probably 2 years, because I have been like, like undertaking that kind of a journey. Now it has been 30 years since I came to this country. I think that's the time when we, at least in my case, start feeling, like reflective on what I have been gone through. I think for me was crucial my mom. So I am, my parents are both of them peasants, like a very humble, orient, but they migrated to Mexico City in the 1960s. But my mom was, and the reason why one of the motivations for my mom to migrate from a rural town in Guerrero, which is in the southern part of Mexico, she wanted to study. She wanted to become a nurse. So that one was her, dream. And I
Dream.
think so. Unfortunately, she couldn't study because she needed to support or help, like supporting her family. So, but my mom always kept that, like that dream. And I think that is with, like I totally feel that it was my mom's dream that was installed in my mind, in my heart,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
that education is, like it is crucial. So
Of
when we
course.
arrived in this country, so I remember, so we arrived, it was a Sunday, and my mom said, tomorrow you're gonna go to school because you are already registered. So for my sister, older sister, and I, so both of us went to taking ESL classes. So
Uh-huh.
for my mom, she said, there is no other way for you to succeed in this country without like learning English. So she
Yes.
was very clever. She knew it, and since then, my whole life I have spent so many years, in school.
Right.
So that, I mean, it was my mom, and then it was her dream, but also became my dream. So, and
Yeah.
it's
I
my,
see.
yeah, it's my source of
Right.
like strength to keep
Right.
moving me. Yeah.
Yes. So your mother's dream became your dream of education and being an educator. Excellent. I love that.
Yeah.
The next question is, what were these difficult moments? What were the obstacles that you had to overcome when you came to the United States?
I think the obstacles, they never disappear. I
Ah,
think they always, I think the way I see them is like they change, they, transform and form and content. At the
uh-huh,
beginning, there are some challenges, adaptation to figure out, like how, learning a new culture, a new
uh-huh.
language. But once you overcome those, like, those obstacles, there is another one, another one,
Uh-huh.
and another one. I think they are always changing, and that's the way I see it. So
I
in the
see.
beginning, I think my, like the main obstacle was, like having lost, those connections, those reference
Yes.
of feeling, like, your culture, your language, your people, your relatives. Um, so I think that's very difficult, like feeling uncertain how it's going to be your
Right.
life in a new country. Um, and then I think the biggest challenge for me, it was learning a new language.
Uh-huh.
So especially I think when I, as you mentioned, so when I came to this country, I was almost about to turn 19. So it was very difficult. So for several years, I felt that I became kind of a, like I lost my my voice. You know,
Uh-huh.
I knew it. I keep thinking, obviously, but I wasn't able to communicate what I was thinking, and I make me feel so um, a lot of frustration. So I
Right.
think that one it was, to overcome that uncomfortable
Well,
feeling
of
of,
course, the United States and Mexico are hugely different culturally. So, was it really hard to reinvent yourself culturally?
It was difficult. Probably it relates a lot with the previous question. Yeah, it was very difficult. If we see it, like as you just mentioned, like the very kind of uh, uh, different cultures. It
So
was difficult, at the beginning. Then I think it helped me to start like feeling more comfortable also with language. Um, but I think it was crucial to be able to. It was a point in my life when I realized that instead of kind of fighting against
Uh-huh.
this idea of like trying to answer who am I, right? So it's
Who am
being
I?
in the America trying to look like an American when I is like I am not an American, obviously. But I was like, it takes time, I think, for an immigrant to figure out what our place is. So,
Yes.
and I think it was a moment in which I realized, and I said, I had to embrace. In Mexico, we had this saying that is neither from here nor there,
Uh,
ni de aquí ni de allá. So, but I was like, I, you know, I think it's from here and from there. When
uh-huh.
I shift that way of seeing, like it's
Yes.
I am from
Yes.
here because I already lived here so
Yes.
many years, but also I am from there, from Mexico, because I was born and raised there. So I think it's embracing these two cultures instead of seeing, like fighting which one is, you know,
Yes.
the best one. I think is
Yes.
wow, it's
Yes.
amazing.
Yes.
We had two different cultures, bringing both of them, and I think that's
Yes.
when I,
Yes.
like realized that this, as
Mm-hmm.
immigrants,
I see.
we are very, enriched in that particular sense.
Right.
Yeah.
So you are now both from here and from there. You, the two of you. Two
Yes.
in one. Yes. And of course, after you overcame all those difficulties and all those obstacles, including language, you came from fearful to fearless. It's a long way for everybody.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I would like to show you something about seven success values. My second chapter is dealing with seven success values, as you know very well, Veronica. And I am sure, I know for a fact that you possess all those values. But let me ask you, which of those values are the closest for you? Which are your priorities?
It was like taking a look again about those different values to remind me, like to
Yes.
be kind of thoughtful, in my selection. And I think at this moment in my life, I think uh, the ones that stand out, I think, is character building. I think that one is crucial. I think because we need to be able to continue, like as I said before, sometimes I mean, obstacles are always there. So we need to keep in mind that always is going to be a new challenge. And
Yes.
we need to keep, like strengthening our character. I think that's very crucial. So obviously, I mean, compared to 30 years ago, obviously I
Right.
had different skills now. But I think, as I said before, there are different challenges now. And then I think it requires to keep building our character, and it's always changing, and I think that's
Right.
crucial. That one
Yes.
is kind of a key one for me. The
Yes.
second one, I could say, emotional intelligence. That's
Uh-huh.
a key aspect, how we and the way we understand emotional intelligence, right? Kind of as you suggested in the book, like keeping this balance in terms of life and work. In this
Right.
case for me, so academia is very demanding, so I always try to keep a balance, like is I think my profession is a privilege in terms of giving me the opportunity to do what I love to do, which is my passion,
Mm-hmm.
like reading, writing, like
Yes.
reflecting. But at the same time, I think that's very important to bring other aspects of your life, or family, friends, spending time with yourself, enjoying doing things that can continue keeping you kind of inspiration. I think that's very important. And the last but not least is perseverance. I think, and I think immigrants, we know very well, that we had to be perseverant, right?
Right.
Because it's a long run, it's part of our life in general, but particular for immigrants, because it's always, certain things that we had to keep, like pushing ourselves, because even when we are already like kind of accomplished professional speaking, but I think it's always, like things to keep learning about,
Uh-huh.
a new culture, a new society. I think, yeah,
I
that's
see.
those
I
will
see.
be those are my three
Thank you
values.
so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, I understand you very well. Character building is also number one for me, and I always speak about it when invited somewhere to talk at the book and the interviews I did with immigrants and so on and so forth. Number one for me, character building. That's always here. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
now I have a difficult question for you. It is a continuation of a previous conversation, obviously. Um, how do you feel today, Veronica, about speaking American English with an accent? And like many other immigrants, I felt uncomfortable at the beginning speaking here in America with my Ukrainian accent. Then it passed. Now, how about yourself?
Thank you for that question, Fiona, because, and also thank you for creating this space. It is very kind of a, like feeling comfortable speaking about this particular kind of issues. You know, when I said that at the beginning, one of the most difficult obstacles was, like learning a new language. And I also said that it took me several years to feel comfortable. I remember, the feelings of like kind of running away. So I avoided as much as I can, or as much as I could at the time, like being around people, like American people. So because I felt at the time like, it was my fault not knowing
Uh-huh.
English,
Right.
and I feel uncomfortable with my accent when I start like speaking,
Yes.
and it took me years. Really, it took me years to like change. And also, as I said, like when I was referring to embracing both cultures, also there was a moment in my kind of turning point in which I realized that instead of seeing my my history, who I am as an immigrant, like English as my second language, being a woman, immigrant woman, women of color, and all those different things that at one point I saw them as shortcomings. I
Uh-huh.
changed the way I saw those um, aspects of my life as strength, as something positive.
I see.
And then my language is part of that, my
Uh-huh.
accent. So, and I just start like, well, my accent has
Yeah.
a history behind. This is
Yes.
more than just the accent, is the whole history of who I am, but also where I'm
Yes.
coming from. And
Yes.
then I just want
Exactly.
to start like, like, wow, I had, like accent is great, like, and
Yes.
being a professor, so one of my biggest fears was like students, especially students teaching evaluations. I thought my students are going to be like, one of the things that they're going to be like evaluating me is my accent. So far, so I haven't gotten any single complaint from my students, which on the contrary, so they say that it's great to have people with accents in terms of
Uh-huh.
being able to, like the diversity, I think, and
Uh-huh.
it makes a big difference. And also I realized that by being kind of role model for other people, and also students have telling me, that it's great to see me as professor, because, and also having an accent, because they remind them, I
Uh-huh.
remind them, their own parents, for example, or
Yes,
other relatives. I
yes,
think in that
yes.
sense is changing the way you see things. I think that's
Right.
important, and embracing again who you are and what is behind those aspects. In this case, my accent. So I love
Uh,
now my accent.
Thank you. I hear you. I hear you. And the students also see you, and in you, they see that everything is possible because
Yeah.
you're a winner in life. That's all right. Now, the next question is also a difficult one. How come you became a feminist? You are defending and promoting women's equality in your personal life and also in your articles on the gender issues. Is that right?
I think it was a point also, like when you, it is nothing that you say like I am a feminist now, I was born a feminist. No, it's
No.
like it's a process. I think it's when you start like looking around and like realizing who you are, and also what are the things that are impacting you. And also I think
Yes.
the way in which by focusing my area of like my research revolves around issues of migration, but I haven't paid particular attention without knowing like that I was like a feminist, but that paying attention particularly to women, immigrant
Yes.
women. So always was kind of intrigued by like understanding how these women,
Yeah.
particularly I was thinking about my mom, you know how these women had undertaken this journey of coming to another country,
Yes.
and I always wanted to learn more about how they made it. So,
Yes.
and by like interviewing these women, I learned so much about from them. And I think that's when I start like, oh, this is, I learned feminism from them. I think the way, even
Yes.
though it was not defined, like
Yes.
breaking certain rules, certain expectations. My
Right.
mom was
Yes.
the one who decided to come to the United States. Like she was the one. And I think in that sense is like I call it like a very particular kind of feminism. There's
Right.
many different feminisms. It's not just one. I think there are very different manifestations of
Yeah.
feminism.
I
So,
understand. Yeah. I
mhm,
also I call it in my blogs and writing, I call it flavors of feminism.
yeah,
Many flavors of feminism.
mhm,
Okay.
yeah.
Now, let me ask you this. I know you are working towards your tenure. Would you kindly tell more about
Well, tenure. It's a long process. Once you are hired, in tenure track position, is 7 years. So we basically in academia is publish and purge. So we had to, write to publish. Publications is crucial in terms of what are you publishing, how many
it? Right.
publications,
Yeah.
books, articles. And right now, so this is my 5th year, so I'm gonna start my 6th year. So I in the 3rd year is the review, the reappointment. So everything went fine. And now in September I'm gonna be submitting my what is called the dossier, which is like
Uh-huh.
putting together all what you had done over the last 5 years, publication, your service, your like teaching, my pedagogy.
Right.
So all those the three main aspects is scholarship, you know uh, um, teaching and service, serving here in college, but also in the discipline. And
Right.
so putting together everything you have done in that dossier and submit it. And also, I think a key aspect is writing kind of assessment letters saying,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
explaining that journey. And I think for me, I have been thinking about that, the way I wanted to approach that letter is, is for me is a particular journey in terms of where I'm coming from. So
Yes,
you know
exactly.
it's a very unique, I mean, case in terms of like my all these 30 years.
Right.
So as I said before, so crossing the border, when I was 18, learning a
Yeah,
language,
yeah.
and now be here. So being able to write, like this dossier, putting together, I think I trying to focus on feeling, enjoying the
Yeah.
journey,
We enjoy
reflecting.
this country. We love this country. We enjoy this country. But I am sure that putting together your dossier is a lot of work. It's hard work. But so what? We are used to hard work. Yeah.
Totally. It's another obstacle. It's another challenge. No obstacle. It's another challenge. But I think I have the skills now to. Is like, okay, I
Right.
can do this. I can do
Yeah.
this.
And
So,
this too. Yes. Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you so much. Excellent. Veronica, what are the other interesting things that you do?
Wow, interesting things.
Just a couple of things.
I don't have that much time, but one of the things that I think that's important for me to always to keep connected to my community. I keep
Uh-huh.
connected to the migrant community in general, but the Mexican migrant community. So because Mexicans, migrants, they having like migrating now. Before they were like basically in traditional states, like California, Texas, but now it's all over the United States. So I, not only because I need to be close to my community to feeling at home, but also I
Uh-huh.
think that's important to get connected with with the community. I think that's one of the things that
Yes.
I always, not only because also it's part of my research, but also because I need it. I need to
Yes.
get that kind of a human contact, and
Yes.
I enjoy.
Emotional support.
Exactly, talking about emotional intelligence. And
Uh-huh.
another thing that I love to do is photography. I love
Oh,
taking photographs.
thank you so much for being on the show, Veronica. Yours is an excellent example of a woman in progress and an amazing American success story, which I learned many lessons from, and I'm sure our listeners and viewers will learn from your story as well. Give Veronica a round for applause. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Um, all right, let us do a summary now. Let us do a summary from fearful to fearless in the US. I believe that I can recommend you the following takeaways. It is possible for immigrant women to rise as educators at a prominent college in America. That's one. The second takeaway I think is safe to recommend is that strong women like Veronica Montes are role models, very good role models for those who want to be fearless achievers. And three, order the book How They Made It in America to learn more about how to become a success in the US. Finally, let us connect. We can connect via YouTube. That's our channel for the Bridge for Women Worldwide. And there is a discussion section on the channel when you open it. You can also write me on my email directly or reach me via my website. And I do promise that I will respond to every question and every comment. Again, thank you so much for listening and watching. Salute. Salute and bye-bye.